the Cyber Helpline is about um, fixing the problem that not enough is being done for victims of cybercrime and online harm. So if you are scammed, you're being cyberstalked, you've been hacked, you're being harassed or bullied online, actually there aren't many places that you can go, and there aren't any places where you can get a quick response. When we started the service, we said, well, look, what we will do is we'll have a helpline staffed by volunteer cybersecurity experts. And we, pretty bravely just put up a web form and say, hey, fill this in if you've been hacked, tell us what's happened, and we'll give you a call. What we realized really quickly is that we've got a supply and demand problem. There's only so many cybersecurity experts, and only so many of them will volunteer their time. But there are millions of victims of cybercrime in the UK alone every year. And so what we really wanted was the ability to provide a kind of solution that would help everyone who needed it. And one of the big barriers in this area and victim support around cybercrime and online harm is people have kind of just decided it's too hard. Oh, there's too many victims, there's not enough cybersecurity experts. Once the money's gone, the money's gone. It's in China or Russia or wherever. And actually, what we've kind of said is that's not true. We just need to use some innovation and be clever about how we respond. And so, initially, what was interesting about having the kind of the chatbot and the kind of conversational AI solution and the diagnosis engine, so we could understand what people were describing, was really to help us deal with demand. How do we go from helping 100 people a month to potentially up to 100,000 people a month? What does that look like? But actually, what we have found are lots of interesting kind of other benefits around the edges. And so, we knew it would provide 24/7, which was really appealing for us. We knew if we could get the diagnosis to work, which we have, then we'd be able to allow someone to describe in their own language and map that to a known type of cyber attack and give them the help they need. What we didn't realize at the time was that just from being cybersecurity experts and being in the privacy kind of arena, we didn't want to have to take personal data from users unless we really, really needed it. And a lot of the feedback we got was really around the fact that being anonymous and being able to talk to, as Micah said, software essentially meant that they weren't embarrassed and ashamed. They feel like they could come forward and get help. They could raise concerns about their own children hacking, for example, without worrying about them getting in trouble. So I think there's been these really interesting benefits of having it in place. And then I think what's the other part in terms of what people use it for us, it's very much about that first response. Come in, describe your issue, have it diagnosed, and we will tell you in plain English what is it that is happening to you and what should you do next. But people don't come to us and say, I've got encrypting ransomware, or I've got webcam blackmail. They come to us and they say, my files won't open, or I can't log into my email account, or somebody's recorded a video of me. And so they talk about symptoms and experiences, and they use non-technical language. And so as an industry in cybersecurity, we love a 3-letter acronym, some technical jargon, so it's really interesting to see how we have mapped out all of the different attacks that an individual might face and the technical language in there. And then kind of mapping of what is the language an ordinary member of the public would use to describe that technical thing that we're talking about. And I think that's probably been the most powerful thing.